So I made a video about Hussein Farhat being a fake natty, which absolutely took off in the algorithm, prompting both Hussein and Greg Doucette to respond. When they both responded, one of the main points they brought up was that Hussein Farhat competed in a natural bodybuilding show, so therefore he must be natty.
And why do you think I told him to do drug-tested competition? He could have entered a non-tested competition. Then what would you have all said? Oh, notice, he enters a non-tested show. Why do you think that is? Because he hopped on. And so he enters a drug-tested bodybuilding competition.
You make good points, but what about Hussein competing in a natural show and winning? Yeah, what about it, bro? You didn't mention the show. Like, we're just gonna forget about it? Nobody wants, like, we're just sweeping it under the rug? Like, what are we doing?
But what if I told you that there was never a drug test conducted in the first place? Stay with me now. So I was working on my response video on the video Greg Doucette made about me when I noticed a very interesting comment that immediately caught my eye. A guy named Sheriff Saad commented on my video regarding Hussein mentioning the natural bodybuilding show. I competed in the same show, same stage, and nobody got tested. A guy even told me afterwards he was on SARMs and competed in the show. Natural shows don't mean much. As soon as I read this comment, I went to his channel, which had a ton of videos and 5,000 subscribers, and then looked him up on Instagram. As you can see on his Instagram, of which he has 40,000 followers, Sheriff appears to be a natural bodybuilder with 13 years of experience. As you can see in his pinned pictures, he did in fact compete in a bodybuilding show and posted a picture of it on the 12th of November 2024. When I scrolled down Hussein's Instagram account to the point he competed in the natural bodybuilding show, I found a picture of him on stage, and lo and behold, it's the exact bodybuilding stage our friend Sheriff Saad was competing on, meaning this comment was actually authentic. I replied to his comment asking him to DM me on Instagram, and when he did, these were the messages he sent me. He showed me the picture of him at the same show as Hussein and said, "That was me at the show. Nobody was tested. It was all bullshit." I replied, "Actually?" Because both Greg and Hussein make it a big point that he entered a drug-tested competition. Are you saying there was absolutely zero testing? To which Sheriff replied, "No testing at all. You have my word. They pretend they would test and charge us for it, but they did not test anybody as far as I am aware of." I then asked him if there was anybody else that could corroborate his story, and he sent me the Instagram profile of another Canadian bodybuilder called Aymeric Leroux. You see, Aymeric competed in men's physique alongside Hussein Farhat, as you can see in Aymeric's YouTube video that he posted to his channel. In the video, which is in French, Aymeric states that many of the contestants in the natural show were very open about having taken PEDs and that they didn't get tested. I then asked Sheriff to add me into a group chat with Aymeric so I could ask him about his experience firsthand. When he did, I asked him, "Did you also not get drug tested nor see anyone get tested at the competition?" To which Aymeric responded, "Yes, there was absolutely no testing, at least nothing before the show. Some people said they'll probably test the top 5, but we don't know if they actually did." Sheriff went on to say that natural shows are bullshit, they don't test anybody, and if they ever test, the tests aren't sophisticated. In our show, we didn't see anyone get tested. Aymeric corroborated this by saying that there were no tests during the show. They both said there might have been a very small chance that the top 5 got tested, but they personally don't think this happened, as they didn't see any evidence of this happening. Sheriff then went on to make a very good point when he said, "It was not tested as far as I'm concerned, nobody got tested, but if Hussein miraculously did, he would have obviously filmed it since he had a cameraman with him at all times. It's like the best content for him if he really got tested. Why didn't he think of filming it?" There's a video of his entire show day, but not of him being tested. To verify what this guy was saying, I proceeded to watch Hussein's show day video myself, and as Sheriff said, there isn't a single moment within the entire video where Hussein talks about a single drug test, let alone films himself actually taking one. Compare this to Will Tennyson, who just 2 weeks ago posted a video about his show day at a bodybuilding competition, and within Will Tennyson's video, we get to see both a polygraph test that they made the contestants take and the actual drug test they had to take as well. Will shows that they made him pee in a cup to then perform a drug test. But in Hussein's video, there's not a single bit of footage or a single mention of any drug test. Now, since I genuinely had never heard of anything like this happening before, I did some digging on the internet. Hussein competed at the King Kong Classic bodybuilding show in Ontario, Canada. The federation that this show belongs to is called the Canadian Physique Alliance, or CPA for short. When I looked around on the internet, I was led to an r/bodybuilding forum on Reddit about a quote-unquote natural bodybuilder who was competing at a natural show that was hosted by the CPA, the same federation that hosted Hussein's show. One of the top comments was, "Guys, don't worry, he's been natural for at least 3 hours." To which another commenter replied, "I will bet you $50 this is the Canadian Physique Alliance Natural Pro Qualifier. Their quote-unquote testing is a complete complete joke, and not even every winner gets tested. They've been obviously rewarding cheaters for years, so nothing is being done to discourage it. Not directed at OP either, just a general observation re the CPA. Now this wasn't even the only person that had something to say about the CPA's drug testing. Another commenter said, CPA doesn't even always test winners. So not only do we have two competitors that competed alongside Hussein saying that there was no drug testing involved, we have multiple other sources stating that the bodybuilding federation that Hussein competed in barely ever tests their contestants. After all of this, I messaged Sheriff and said, it's crazy they don't test while claiming it's drug tested. Are the showrunners not afraid of getting exposed? He replied, exactly, that's why I sent you a DM, because it was really nobody that got tested. They also all knew over there that Hussein is a big Instagram influencer, so they didn't want to ruin the show performance and visibility by making it hard for him to compete. Most natural shows are bullshit, especially here. Tests are expensive to run, they won't spend money on them. It's hard enough for shows to make money, imagine spending money testing every single person. It just isn't beneficial business-wise for them. It's all a business, my man. If you had a small restaurant and a big star is coming, you will break some rules for them to get you some hype for your business. He then proceeded to say, I gotta mention, King Kong Classic has 2 days of competing. Friday is open, which means enhanced, and Saturday is the natural one. Me and Hussein both competed at the natural bodybuilding show. You get charged for testing, but they don't test shit. They put all that money straight in their pocket. They had a little room with a couple of women with water bottles, pretending they would randomly pick people to test them, but it was all for show because we had paid for it. But as far as I'm aware, nobody got tested. Furthermore, a guy that competed on the natural stage told me he isn't a lifetime natural. He didn't place well, but I don't want to mention his name, so please respect his privacy. He then said, you can mention that some people on stage told me they were not natural, but I can't share their names as it wouldn't be fair to them. I don't know if they would want to share all of this. So as if it wasn't already known that most natural bodybuilding shows are a sham because the drug tests are easy to pass, it has now come out that Hussein most likely didn't even get drug tested in the first place, yet parades his accolade of competing in a natural bodybuilding show around as proof of his natty status.
You make good points, but what about Hussein competing in a natural show and winning? Yeah, what about it, bro? You didn't mention the show. Like, we're just gonna forget about it? Nobody wants, like, we're just sweeping it under the rug? Like, what are we doing?
Hussein, why is there not a single mention of a drug test in your video when you had your cameraman with you at all times? As I said earlier, when Will Tennyson competed just 2 weeks ago, we were shown both a polygraph test and a urine test, yet there's absolutely nothing in your video. You mentioned every time you went tanning, every meal that you ate, but the most important aspect of a natural bodybuilding show, which is the drug testing, is completely absent from your video. Not only is there no video of you getting tested at all, there's not even a single mention of a drug test anywhere. This, combined with the fact that we have 2 contestants of the same show stating that no one got tested, and various threads on the internet critiquing that exact bodybuilding federation for not properly testing people, and I think we can pretty much safely conclude here that Hussein has most likely been lying about this the entire time and didn't actually get drug tested at the bodybuilding show. Let me ask you this, if Hussein has been lying all this time about being tested at a bodybuilding show to back his natty claim, how likely is it that he has been lying about everything else as well? Now the question is, what is Greg's involvement in all of this? This part is just pure speculation, but would it be that crazy to assume that Greg Doucette, who is the one that told Hussein to compete in a natural bodybuilding show, made Hussein compete at a federation that he knew wouldn't actually drug test him? Hussein and Greg, in both of your videos, you used a natural bodybuilding show as a way to refute my fake natty accusations, when all this time there most likely wasn't even a drug test taken to begin with. If you lied about this, what are the chances you lied about everything else? So that was it for this video. I'm currently working on getting my response video to Greg's video about me out as soon as possible, so be on the lookout for that. If you guys enjoyed this video, please make sure to like and subscribe as it helps the channel out tremendously. See you guys in the next video.